change your mind. Nothing here is black and white. Nothing here is black and baby, do you realize nothing here is black and white? Meet me on the brighter side when you change your mind. Nothing here is black and white. Baby, do you realize we won't have to be alone? Meet me on the brighter side when you change your mind. Nothing here is black and white. Nothing here is black and
How you doing, guys? Everybody good? Everybody's week's off to a good start. Get that turned down. Yeah, how is everybody doing? All good, I hope. All good. Let's have a look. See what we got going here. Hey Dave, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? How are you doing? Just gonna sort this chat window out. Get this sorted out. But yeah, welcome to the live stream. Do every couple of weeks. Let's get this chat window so I can actually see it. But yeah, all good, all good. So who's in here tonight? And shout out if you're in chat. Let's see who's hanging out. And yeah, we can get going. Fixing the bike while he talk. Fixing the bike? Better not be a euphemism, Dave. What do you mean fixing the bike? Hey? Just let me see if I can just post a link to Instagram stories a second. Let me see if I can do that. For some reason, I used to be able to copy links from my laptop to my phone, them both being Apple. I don't know why that stopped from happening, but yeah. Jamie, how you doing, money? How you doing? Good to see you. Love the shot you posted. Yeah, love the shot you posted. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Super clean. Yeah, love it. Love it. Is that a new one or an old one, Jamie? Is that like brand new or? But yeah, that's right. Like I reread the description. You're like, I'm using color LED tubes, but what I'm doing differently this time is using white light. I was like, what am I missing here? But yeah, can I share? Copy link. Sorry guys, I don't know why I have to do it this way, but yeah, I'll be 2 seconds and then it's done. I promise. Let's try that. No idea about that. It's just gonna. Oh, but I'm sure it'll get. I'm sure you can work it out. You can work it out. Big boys and girls. Earlier this year. Okay, man. Okay. Yeah. So Jamie, look, you do a bunch of shoots, models, and that sort of stuff. I know you're working, but I'm just gonna ask you these questions real quick. I'm just kind of curious as to, like, you do a shoot. Like, what's your sort of timeline? You've obviously got an idea in mind. Like, you're working with a model, you get her to come in. Because the models that you're working with, they seem very professional, know what they're doing. You got styling sorted out. It seems like you got a pretty strong idea of the type of shots that you want. Like, what's the plan? You getting them in for like 6 hours, 4 hours? You're going, look, we're gonna do a 6 hour shoot. We're gonna do like 3 setups. We're gonna do 6 setups. Like, and obviously if anybody else wants to add to that, they can do. But I know Jamie does model shoots where it's kind of more editorial / fashiony rather than a portrait shoot. Nothing wrong with either of those. All I'm saying is, like, a portrait shoot is, turn up and you try and, you're talking, getting to know somebody, whatever, getting them comfortable. Maybe you've got an idea before they arrive, and but they're not professional models and that sort of thing. Whereas I know Jamie obviously works with professionals. I'm just kind of curious as to, like, what you're aiming to get out of like a shoot. 6 hours, like 4 sets, 20 images that are like portfolio worthy, 5 images. Just kind of curious. The clients who do 6 hours, perfect. 6 hours, 3 outfits, have makeup artist on request. Yeah, nice turnaround. It's about a month whilst I work everything else already. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, sounds pretty. Yeah. Like, yeah, for me, like, depending on what people want, usually like a half day is. I don't really do half days anymore unless it's something real specific. But yeah, 4 to 6 hours, and then same. Might do 4 to 6 sets, depending on how complex each of them are. But yeah. Hair and makeup, and that hair and makeup just adds a lot of time, and it's part of the process, right? People are paying for that and that sort of thing. But yeah, it does add a huge amount onto it. Melanie, how you doing? Evening. 8 final images, because latex spend a lot of time researching to get the look right. Absolutely, buddy. Yeah, no, totally get that, and I think that can be, I don't know, but I would assume that I think people are, like, think they're going to get tons of images right, but editorial style or the level that you're doing it, where like everything is got to be perfect. Each image is, you're going to have a lot of time spent on it. Do you mind sharing how much kind of retouching time you spend on each image? You use like 1 hour, 3 hours, 20 minutes in Lightroom, job done? I know it's not that, but I'm just giving examples of how different people operate. But because they're paying, just paying for the 6 hours with Jamie, and obviously that's not, it doesn't end there, right? So yeah. Kind of interesting. Roger from Brazil, how you doing? Sorry I missed your message there, mate. Hope you're well. What time is it in Brazil, Roger? What time are you? You are, I don't know, actually. What are you? 6 hours, 8 hours behind? I'm going to be totally wrong now. No, unfortunately not. Got a power. Oh, David talking about his bike train. Pounds flat and the new battery over the weekend. Oh, okay. And that's on the bike, right? Okay. Flat battery on the bike. That sucks. Yeah. So Dave's talking about his shoots. Dave says here clients are from 2 hours to 8 hours depending on the content. Okay, yeah. So 2 hours to 8 hours depending on the content. Poll groups can be 4 hours to 2 days over a weekend. Okay, yeah. And when you're talking about a group, you're talking what, 6, 12 people is a lot, right? Finished photos turned around in 2 to 6 weeks depending on the agreed total. Yeah. Okay. Pretty sensible. Nothing crazy there. Nothing surprising. Seems pretty standard there. Jamie follows up with, my MUA is chatty, but I don't mind as we work fairly quickly as I've planned everything before. Yeah. Lightroom cull and color grade and then Photoshop retouch on average 1 to 2 hours. Yeah, I can totally see that, Jamie. Yeah, those people haven't seen Jamie's work. I think it's in chat here. Let me see. So what Jamie's talking about here is kind of like this stuff that, like, a nightmare to kind of retouch in terms of hair and dust and all that sort of stuff. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So yeah, again, nothing crazy from Jamie. That's kind of what I was expecting. Yeah. And yeah, Dave, they're 2 to 8 hours. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Dave, how many images are you kind of given to them? Obviously, dependent on what they want, or are you doing like a package thing? Because you're doing a lot with poll groups and that sort of thing, which is. So Jamie's working with individuals, right? You got like one client, one person. A lot of time, that's what I'm doing. Dave, are you working with groups? So like a poll group is coming to you, and like they're all chipping in, or are you going to the poll studio and going, look, I'll be there from 10 until 4. If anybody wants to shoot with me, book in like an hourly slot with me, and you do it like that. I know, there's other poll shooters out there who kind of do that. So you're kind of, you kind of have an agreement with the studio owner, right? Like they take a cut or whatever, or they get a complimentary poll shoot, and you get to shoot in the poll studio, and then you're just booking out slots, right? Yeah. Dave says 6 in 4 hours. Okay, so yeah, poll studios can be up to 16 individuals each day. Yeah, normally have it where each performer gets 30 minutes. So okay, so not long then. But then, to be fair, with your work though, Dave, it's not always down to you, right? Like how long can they hang upside down and spin around like they're knackered after like 5 minutes, right? So it's almost like 30 minutes for most photographers is like, Christ, I've barely got the lights warmed up in that sort of time, but your shoots are kind of done like 30 minutes. And again, that's because your girls are kind of posing on the poles, and you can't just hold the pose indefinitely. Yeah, just hold that. Just let me get a few more shots. So you got to be bang on, right? Everything's got to be dialed in. Boom, boom, boom. Pros and cons, right? Pros is you get a lot of people through. Cons is you got to be bang on getting those shots off the rip. Yeah. James says, I don't have the management skills to communicate with more than 2 people because it ends up getting too complicated for me. When I shoot, we work to get the right shots. I prefer one-to-one. Hey, Jamie, I'm with you on that. Yeah. It's gonna vary, right? So you can have the client, you can have like the art director, which is kind of liaising with the client. Then you have kind of like the subject, like direct subject, which maybe you're working with here, or something else entirely, which can be like the designer, for example. And the reason I'm bringing up kind of these kind of different leaders or bosses or people who are kind of in charge of the shoot, paying the money, whatever you want to call it, they're all going to have different ways of attacking it, right? So for example, like the owner of business, and then the art director is going to be different to them. So the owner of business is going to be like, yeah, this is what I want, but knows nothing about art and how it's done. It's just like, oh yeah, I saw this image on Instagram 12 months ago. This is what I want. Like, no idea. Yeah, but we don't have a double-decker bus, right? Like that's cool. I love that shot as well, but like we can't do that. The art director is more savvy to the art world and knows kind of what's possible, but is really trying to, prove their worth to like his boss. Different. And then the client as well, like one-to-one. So a client could be a model or something like that. So they're kind of anxious about how they're looking rather than the overall, tone of the shoot. Is, getting a cool shot in your eyes. If they like, oh my god, no, that's my wrong side. We need to switch it around. Or it can be the client, like with regards to styling and fashion, right? So you got to be like, look, it's a cool shot and all, but like we can't see the back of the dress, and that's where all the detail is. So like, that's no good to me. So I think it's you got to wear a lot of different hats on set for sure. Dave says private 1-to-1 normally gets 30 to 60 images. Okay, so you're just putting those through Lightroom, so you're not really spending any time in Photoshop, right, Dave? You're just doing everything in camera and getting it like around without that sort of volume. Images back to scripts to give them 5 to 15 depending on the fee. So Dave says average polar will get 5 to 6 poses. Some are absolute beasts and can knock through 15, 20 poses and reshoots. Fair play, man. Yeah, fair play. Yeah, like you say, that's you got to have some power for that. Dave follows up with majority of my shoots are location with me bringing my pole gear to the shoot and meeting the group. Studios get in touch with me and we agree a fee per performer and number of shots. Okay. So let me just read that again. Majority of my shoots are location with me bringing pole gear. Okay, so you're not shooting in the studio and meeting the group. So you're doing what, outside stuff, like location stuff, outside you're bringing like a freestanding pole sort of thing. Okay. Studios get in touch with me and we agree a fee per performer and number of shots. Okay, so maybe they're taking like a cut, right? Yeah, okay, that's fair. All my shots are fully edited, mate. Bruise and rivel skins. Yeah, so you're spending, how long are you spending then, Dave? You're saying you're talking about the amount of time that you're saying. I mean, Jamie, similar to me, depending on the shoot, I'm probably not spending as much time as Jamie here, mainly because I'm not dealing with the shiny stuff. But yeah, 1 to 2 hours. Like, what are you spending on each image? Yeah. Then he says, interesting to get your take on the more experienced photographers as a relative newbie. I'm shooting for 2 hours at a time, doing 1-to-1 shoots, and maybe covering 2 or 3 concepts. Melanie, I think that's pretty fair to be honest, and it's also going to be dependent on the people that you're working with. If you're working with just a regular person, right? Just a regular person, and they want, I don't know, maybe it's a maternity shoot or something like that, which is a kind of an extreme example because you have a fairly short window. They can't be standing there and posing and changing outfits. It's just gonna be knackered, right? Also, as well, like regular people will kind of lose interest. So you have kind of this short window. So I would say what you're doing there is shooting for 2 hours at a time. It's probably kind of a limit for a regular person. 2 hours for them standing, breathing in for 2 hours and stuff. Like it's probably gonna be the limit. And after that, you're gonna start to get tapering off. Now, professional models and stuff, they can be knocking out the poses, 6 to 8 hours a day, like super fit. That's their job. Different. Yeah. My level, I don't work with art directors. I have a designer who sends me stuff and shoot, and I get to keep the clothing. I go over 10K stuff. Nice, man. Nice. That's nuts. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got a rough idea. I know latex is expensive, right? Because it's kind of, a lot of it is custom made. So, what are you doing with that? And remember, this is a family-friendly stream, Jamie. Dave says yes, full Godox and Rotolac setup. Yeah, so you're mixing LED and flash, right, Dave? Yeah. So Melanie says lighting and costumes are sorted out prior to maximum studio time. Yeah, and I think that's good as well. And I think with regular people, regular portraits, I think having like a strong idea and flow as soon as the time starts, I think is good. And I remember like the early years when I was in the studio and that sort of thing, and I'd be thinking about the lighting, and I'd be like, what do I do now? Like, this is not looking good. Like, I'm thinking, I'm concentrating. Now, that's fine. You're doing your job, but you're trying to fix what's maybe not working in the shot. But as far as the non-professional client is concerned, all they're thinking of, oh my god, it's me. What am I doing wrong? Oh, the images aren't looking good. Where's it going? So like, it's like the more downtime or the more kind of dead time that is kind of present in a shoot like that, like the more anxious and kind of panicked that the subject can get, especially if they're not a pro, right? They'll just be like, oh my god, it's me. Like he's hating the shots, and then it just cascades from there, right? So I think having like a real strong plan in a shoot, like you're saying there, is mandatory to make sure everybody is kind of hyped, and the shots are looking good, everybody's happy off the rip. And this is why I always recommend like having like the first setup is just super easy for you, right? You can practically do that setup with your eyes closed. Like you always have like a banger setup in your mind that is just like, yeah, this always works, this always looks amazing. Boom, just get that in the bag, right? So it's just coming in, you're talking, you're not having to think about your setup, you get this killer couple of shots that they can see them if you want, and they're like, oh yeah, cool, everything else from here is just going to be easy. So having like a real solid setup that is kind of personal to you, it's not just like, oh yeah, stand in front of this window and we'll get some shots. I'm talking about like a killer setup that is kind of personal to you, and you can really blow them away with that, and then everything else from there will just be a little bit easier. Dave says 5 minutes to whatever it takes till I'm happy. Now got enough experience to get pretty close in camera, but always have the bruises to cover. Yeah, that's true, I suppose. Yeah, the pole dancers and that's are always going to have bruises that you're always going to have to deal with. Yeah, that's true. But if you're spending not too much time on it, that's amazing. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. And Jamie says, I keep the latex for clients, so I have a full wardrobe for them to play with. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the more stuff you've got to offer them, the more variety that they can use and get excited about. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not a fetishist. I just happen to be really good at shooting latex. Yeah. I mean, yeah, no judgment here to anybody that is. I mean, everybody's into their own thing, and that's fine. But I agree, Jamie. Yeah, I think that having the skill to be able to shoot latex is huge, and it's not as crazy popular now as like maybe it was like 8 to 10 years ago. It was nuts. You remember there was this, I don't know, it was like, you remember when like Suicide Girls were like super prolific, and like the latex thing was kind of erupting, going back to the Jane Doe latex kind of stuff. It was just crazy, and I think now it's kind of dropped off a lot more. You don't see it as much anymore, which is good for you, because it is very, very difficult to do. I think a lot of people like photographed latex back then, and it was horrendous. It's just looked terrible. Like the latex looked awful because they're not doing it the way that you're doing it, right? Yeah. Plan first set is a warm-up, but still our objective is getting amazing images. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like solid one to start. Yeah, main things to remember when. So Dave says main things to remember when working with non-models, they look to you as the pro. Remain calm even when it's going wrong. If you look like you know what you're doing, they'll be more relaxed. 100% agree with that, Dave. Yeah, 100% agree. And I think that, I mean, I used to use the kind of example of, have you ever seen like ducks on like a river, right? And like the ducks are swimming upstream, and you're just looking at them, and like they look really serene, just going up. They look really serene. Underneath the surface, like their legs are just like going just absolutely crazy, right? Their legs are just going, desperately trying to go against the flow, but above the surface, looking real serene and beautiful and that sort of thing. And I think for a lot of photo shoots, like that's the reality of it. So much of our job is problem solving that we have to remain kind of calm and positive and going, oh yeah, this is really cool, I love this, tell you what we're going to do, we're just going to move this around so we've got more options. Right, that got nothing to do with the fact that looked horrendous, but like, don't worry, I'm just going to get a different option over here, and I love the way your hair's parting, just let me change this because that was looking horrendous before. But you're keeping like super positive about everything, because yeah, especially with non pros, and even some pros, as soon as you start to show the cracks of like, oh my god, it's kind of, it's not going as I'd hoped, these are kind of okay, it will just it'll just dive bomb from there. Yeah, it really will. Yeah. I didn't do the Suicide Girls, wasn't my bag. Yeah, me either. Yeah, more into the interesting styling and what I can create, like, to make it impactful. It was a huge. It was kind of a huge money making thing back in the day, Jamie. It was, because this is pre OnlyFans, right? So the Suicide Girls would, and like the Squad or whatever it is, they would pay photographers for the content, and you'd have to shoot like the series, whether it be like the usual typical thing that you'd expect, but it was like 50 images or something. It was like a lot of images. I mean, you'd get bugger all, but it would be like the slow undress and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was a big old racket years ago. I mean, racket is a bit strong, but it was certainly a lot of money moving around as like the Suicide Squad thing just exploded. Yeah. Melanie says, I think there is more pressure at my level working with experienced model. Yes, they are super easy to work with, but it's making sure I don't look an idiot, I stumble upon a problem. Interesting, Melanie. Okay, so you're kind of at that kind of middle ground where you're working with, which is great, like you're working with more experienced people, but you're kind of pushing yourself outside of your kind of envelope with regards to like the setups and that sort of thing, which is amazing. Like, hats off to you. That, which is great. Like, it means that you're working with people who are kind of elevating your skill, right? Which is brilliant. But yes, like you say, can be super stressful. Yeah. Definitely trips to the bathroom to Google A, B, C, and D things, for sure. Hey, look, we've all been there. I remember. I mean, I'm going back a long time now. I think it could even be 10 years, but yeah, I remember doing a hair shoot in London, like Tottenham Court Road or something like that, like L'Oreal Studios, and it was like a long exposure shoot, so it was kind of complex at the time, and the room was way brighter than I expected, and it was just like, and the client was, yeah, I remember going to the bathroom and going, I need to just think this through, right? Where is this going wrong, and breaking it down, because everybody's breathing down your neck, right? The stylist is breathing down your neck. The model is like, can I go yet? Can I go? Look, I need to go. The makeup artist is asking, like, does this need to be darker? And the stylist is still trying to steam the clothes when it's on the model. Like, everybody's trying to have their hand in it, right? And then you're looking at the back of the camera going, fuck. Is like, it happens. That's just part of the job. Yeah, it just happens, man. Yeah. So you are not alone, I can assure you. Dave says, trusting of what you're doing. I do a lot of confidence shoots with clients who have never modeled. Yeah, exactly. Staying calm, talking them through, just so much to put them at ease. I honestly, Dave, it cannot be understated or overstated enough as to how important that level of kind of professionalism and confidence can instill in people, right? And sort of well to be, kind of your best mates and that sort of stuff, and trying to be all like, yeah. But I think, showing them that you're a professional photographer does a huge amount to elevate their perception of the images, for sure. Yeah. It's easier working with non-professional models to an extent because they don't know any different. It's true, Melanie. Yeah, it's true. You got to do more work though, right? You got to do a lot more work, to get the shot. You got to shoot through it, as I call it, right? So, if you're having like a pro model, I'm very fortunate to work with just incredible models where you just come in, boom, 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 you get into this kind of flow state, you just get a ton of images, and then you're on to the next thing. Whereas with non-pros, you got to kind of coax them into it. kind of micromanaging the post to a certain extent. And even if you do kind of micromanage the pose, it can sometimes feel a bit forced. So you just gotta shoot a lot more images. So there's pros and cons to it before. Yeah. Hey Anders, how you doing? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, loved your shot, by the way. I think that's just saw it a minute ago. So thanks for that, guys. Yeah, appreciate the kind of feedback and inputs there. Interesting to see how each of us work, right? Because for the most part, photographers are lone wolves, right? We're just out there doing our own shoots, and we can just carry on doing that for years. We can just be doing our own shoots and not really I've always given 5 images, or I've always said that they'll get 3 sets for 6 hours. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't do that? I think it's always good to kind of hear how other people operate and what they're kind of offering, and whether it be packages or time frames or costs as well. But I think cost is kind of more specific. But yeah, I think it's always good to hear how others operate, for sure. So we got sidetracked a little bit there, but it's good discussion. Those of you who kind of joined as we were ranting there, every couple of weeks do these live streams where we kind of hang out, ask questions, and go through kind of any recent news, which we'll do in a second. Have a look at any products that have been kind of spoken about in the press, and anything that I think is reasonably worth talking about, current events wise, photo related. And then we'll have a look at your guys' work, right? See what you guys have been working on. So you can see it here. This was a post on my Facebook page from last night. The share a shoot every Monday, and then I get you guys to post your images in here. So if you wanted to add your image, you certainly can do. And just post it in the comments of that, and we will have a look at it in a bit. Let's have a look who's in here tonight. We've got the usual suspect. Oh, Vlad. Creeping in there at the last minute. Love it. Love it. Gonna be late to the stream. Going for the cinematic look. Shocked, Vlad. Absolutely shocked. Very cool. Very cool. BTS vid below as well. Can we have a look at that later? We've got Tony's in there. Oh, Melanie. This is you, Melanie, right? Is this the same Melanie? Melanie Watts and Melanie Patilla. Yeah, good stuff. Mario, Jamie, of course, Kevin. We got a bunch more in here as well. It's nice. Latecomers. One from Brett. I saw this, Brett. This is beautiful, Brett. I don't think you're in stream, or I don't think you are. Yeah. Hey, Dave. No worries, buddy. Yeah. Take care, man. Thanks for hanging out. And Anders here. Last but not least. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So have a look at those in a bit. Obviously, if you want to share your image, use that link. Use that link I just given you. Post it in the comments down here, and we can have a look. Is the one and the same? Nice, Melanie. Nice. Yeah. So you said I just read that then. I usually shoot color. Blah, blah, blah. This was only my second studio-based shoot. Nice. Nice. Yeah. How did you find the studio? Enjoy the comfort of not having any ambient light ruining your photos? Enjoy the comfort of a dark room to work in? Or did you find it a bit constraining? Like, now I got to worry about the background as well, right? But yeah, brilliant. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff in the studio. Okay. So let's have a look at a couple of bits I brought up here. See what we got. Let's have a look at some bits, some recent bits in the news here. Look, if anybody's got any links or anything like that they want to share, I think you can either post it. I don't think you can post it in chat because YouTube is real strict. But if you wanted to, just post it in here. If you want, okay, just post it in. If you've got a link for some products or something like that you saw that you thought was pretty cool, just post it in there and mention it in chat, and I will get to it. Dave's a mod, but he is also about to dip with his phone, which is fine. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of bits that were kind of announced the last couple of weeks. And Fujifilm GFX 100S2. Okay, so those of you who don't know, GFX is a medium format digital camera, mirrorless, and I was kind of like the air quotes there, but the reason being is medium format is really anything that's above the 35mm to a to a certain extent, and then large format kicks in at pretty much like 5.4 or something, right? So it's a huge gap between 35mm and like 5.4, right? It's a massive gap, and that whole range is classed as medium format. And the Fujifilm GFX here is a small medium format camera, right? You probably got like your 35mm is in there, and like your Hasselblads are going to be in there, and then you got your your Pentax 6.7s and that sort of stuff out there. So maybe being a little bit exaggerated there, but like the medium format is just large enough to be classed as medium format, so not huge, right? And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of the depth of field that we see from medium format cameras from like the late 90s and that sort of thing, from editorials back then, which is gorgeous, super beautiful, deep depth, incredible bokeh and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of that was from either like the Hasselblads being the 5.5s or the 6.7s and that sort of stuff, which is like the ones that I shoot. And there's a big difference in the look, right? So that being said, though, the GFX is an incredible camera, like absolutely incredible camera. And I think if I was going to go mirrorless, I would probably take this step next rather than just going to the Sony. So Fujifilm has announced the new GFX 100S2 as a successor to the original. Obviously, it brings upgrades to pretty much every aspect of the camera. It sports a new 102 megapixel sensor, AI autofocus, even as ProRes and Blackmagic RAW video. Okay, so yeah, okay, Jake, cool. Yeah, another expensive digital camera to talk about. Sure, it is kind of interesting though, because they've kind of changed pretty much everything. Even the sensor, while it still features the same 102 megapixel resolution, is an entirely new sensor. The new sensor and X processor 5 increases the ISO range to 80 to over 12,000, right? And extended, which is 40, so ISO 40 to over 25,000. Kind of nuts, right? Kind of nuts. So huge range there. But yeah, interesting to see them putting new sensors in this GFX. Very cool. Hey, Vinny Wolves, how you doing? You haven't missed anything apart from us ranting about working with pro models and non-pro models at the start. But other than that, we're just digging into the news. Who else? Steve, how you doing, mate? Steve says, new Godox LED announced in the last day. Godox. Steve, would you mind whacking that in the comments of this Facebook link here? And I will grab that in a minute. Yeah, I don't think I've got that. But yeah, so kind of interesting. The other thing that kind of caught my eye here was, so on the left here is the new one, the GFX2, and the original GFX here, right? What's kind of interesting is the launch price is 5,000 compared to the old one, which was 6,000. So it's interesting to see Fujifilm bringing down the price at launch of this. So yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, they are really trying to get as many people onto this GFX system. And I've said this to you guys in the past, but to my knowledge, the lenses that go on these cameras actually throw a circle far bigger than, like, so as we know, a circular lens light goes in and it throws a circle, and we just grab the square out of that circle in the middle there. But to my knowledge, the GFX lenses actually throw a far larger circle than the actual chip itself. So it's my kind of belief that they will stick with the system long term and probably grow that chip. Could be any time soon. Yeah, so it could be anytime soon. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do that. Yeah. My point being here about them again, like bringing that price down of the intro. How much is, you guys will know, how much is like one of the like the newest Sony, brand new at the moment? Yeah, how much is that? Is it $4,000 or something like that? Or am I being, that Jake, that's ridiculous. Like, how much is the new Sony? Is it $2,000, $4,000? I've got no idea. I don't even know what it's called and what the latest Sony is. Yeah. Tuck says if the sensor gets bigger, then they'd have to move. They would. They'd have to move that market to compete with the Phase 1. I agree, but the Phase 1s are still like $25,000, aren't they? And I don't have the exact size of the Phase 1 chip here, but it is a lot bigger. If Fuji can make their cameras to compete with the Phase 1, I mean, even half the price would be like $10,000 or something, right? So I don't know. I'd be interested to see if they go into that market. Yeah. And they just talk about one of the new lenses and stuff as well here. Again, it's pretty specific. Fujinon GF 500 5.6. Yeah, and the lens, $3,500 for the lens. Christ, yeah. Tark goes on to say they've had good cooperation with Phase Read Capture One. They'd be in jeopardy if they completely directed cameras. Interesting. Okay, I see. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. So you're saying that they already have like this working relationship with them with regards to what the tech that's in the camera, or what? Like, what is that relationship based on? Interesting point though. Yeah, interesting point. Yeah. Just going back to Melanie's comment here. Melanie says, luckily the studio is the one I shot at regularly as a model. Nice. So it was like shooting home away from home. Just happened to be the other side of the lens this time. Nice. Okay, so you're familiar with the kit and space and stuff there. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it helps. It's good info though, Tark. Yeah, that's good info. Yeah. And I wonder if you're right. I would be amazed if they didn't upgrade that sensor though. I mean, I don't know when the original Fuji GFX came out. I mean, it's got to be 5 or 6 years old now, right? Did it even say here? I don't even think it does. What did it say at the top? Fuji GFX was a big hit. It launched that was the original in 2021. It took a while to come aftermarket after its initial 2018 development. Also, that was just when they announced they were in development with it. So 2018. Okay. Because there's a smaller one, right? There's GFX 40 or 80 or something. Yeah, it's a smaller one. Yeah. Grab says, well, the Sony A7R4, which is 61 megapixels, cost around $3,000, and the Sony A9 III, which is more market towards sports, up to 120 FPS, and global shutter costs $6,000. Interesting, Gripes. Wow, interesting. So the Sony. Yeah, there you go, $6,000. Yeah, wow. Now, Gripes, you bring up a good point there, and and to be fair to you, you give caveats as to why it's that cost. You say there the A9 III, which is a more market towards sports, upwards of 120 frames a second, and global shutter, which is what a lot of people have been, hallowed ground and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be for people after a specific look for sure. A specific market. Like you say, shoot burst speeds up to 120 FPS, full frame stacked CMOS, approximately 24.6 effective megapixels, latest image processing, 8 stops of optical stabilization. 8 stops of optical stabilization, that's nuts. And again, like you say, sports and that sort of thing. A maximum shutter speed, so this is the global shutter, right? So a maximum shutter speed of 80,000th of a second. So specialist, right? Specialist. But you know, for me and maybe for a bunch of you here, you know, working in the studio and that sort of stuff, I mean, yeah, never in a million years would I go down the Sony route for over this. And you know, medium format in terms of the size, and you know, you can, you know, it's got a beautiful quality to it. You know, the GFX, I've certainly shot with it, and I think I shot with the original one. I forget what megapixels that original one was, but it certainly wasn't 100. Yeah. Steve follows up. Sony flagship A1 is 6.5. Okay, so if you were like the ultimate Sony fanboy, 6.5 grand is going to get you a seat at the table. Okay. Jamie says might get it cheaper on Panamos when I got my Panamos. The hell is Panama? Is that some grey import, Jamie? I mean, look. I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit it. But yeah, it's certainly in my youth. I certainly used grey imports. Yeah. Oh, Steve even says this. Steve says, but you can get it grey for just over 4. Wow, it's a big difference, man. That's nuts. Yeah, that's huge. GFX. Thank you, Tark. Yeah, so GFX started with 50 megapixel on the 50S and 50R. Yeah. So kind of just for, you know, reference. I mean, this is years ago, but when I originally tested it, I don't know how long ago, but this was on the 50, right? As you can see, the aspect ratio is not 35mm aspect, so you can see the aspect ratio here. But my initial kind of response when I was kind of looking at this was absolutely incredible. Color rendition was beautiful. Obviously the quality was amazing. The detail was amazing. Like, you know, in the hair and the shadows and stuff like that. Highlight detail, great. But the depth of field, if this was like a larger medium format camera, you would immediately go, wow, gorgeous depth of field on that. But this on the GFX, you know, nobody really is going to look at this and go, that's not 35mm, that's medium format. So that was kind of my kind of barrier to entry on that. Was the reason why I kind of didn't just go all in on it, was because I was kind of chasing that 90s medium format look that I kind of love so much, which, as I think Tark was saying there with the Phase 1, is very noticeable on the Phase 1. Like, it, you know, especially on the original Pentax medium format, is gorgeous. Yeah. So yeah, be interesting to see where they go with this. But bringing this out at $5,000 at launch with the latest brand new sensor and that sort of thing, I think is huge for Fuji. Yeah, huge. Really trying to get as many people onto that system as possible, right? And the more people on that system, the more they have to buy the lenses for that system, right? Once you, like, we've all been there, right? How often have we seen a camera come out and go, oh, that's really cool, but I can't use it because I've got 25 grand's worth of lenses here that would be totally useless on it, right? So I think, you know, Fuji are being clever, right? That, you know, that they're getting as many people as they can do in at the kind of ground floor with this camera, and get the lenses sold, and then kind of grow it from there. So I think it's, you know, very, very smart on their end for sure. Yeah. Panama's, you get a UK warranty supposedly. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. P1 is the only one doing full 645 size. Yeah, and it's really noticeable, Tark. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely noticeable. Like, you see one of those shots and you immediately go medium format. Right? You absolutely know when you see that. Now, maybe it's just me being a nerd or whatever, and like nobody else is going to notice. But in my opinion, yeah, like, you definitely notice it. Have you used it? Have you seen that focus point they've got? Just the one big square in the middle. It's so funny, man. How anything is in focus with that. When I've tested it, I've always like, how is this even ever going to work? Especially when you look at all the Sonys that have all the different focus points all over the bloody everywhere, and this thing has just got a big square in the middle. Yeah, that's it. You see it and immediately go, glad I rented it instead of buying it. Well, I mean, it's a lot, right? It's a huge investment. Yeah, huge investment. So staying on the same Fuji train here, but they kind of brought this or added this to their website here, this film simulation section, and it's kind of cool. So they kind of give you some examples here. You know, look, it's not perfect in my opinion, but it's certainly cool to look at least get kind of an idea from it. Does anybody shoot Fuji in chat here? Does anybody shoot? I mean, I've got a Fuji camera here. I have kind of used like the original X100. Does anybody shoot Fuji here? So they brought this out. So each film simulation is designed using Provia as a base standard. So we're going to have a look at some examples here of some of these. Oh, Chucky, you're GFX 50 shooter. Nice. Yeah, good stuff. How long have you had it? So it goes on there. One is an all-round versatile type. These simulations are designed with less individuality, but with priority given to bringing out the natural charms of subject. So talking about these in here, and we'll look at some of the example films here in a second. And then we have the individualistic types here. The other is the individualistic, personal type. These looks match the photographer's emotions, feelings, subject choice, and purpose to highlight and express the subject's appeal. Okay. Neither type claims to be the right answer. So in here we can kind of open these up and kind of look at some examples. And the reason I kind of bring this up is what it used in 2020. I'm a big proponent of used cameras, man. Yeah, that's the same as cars, right? I like buying a brand new car is it's not something that excites me. So I'm happy to save money on that. Yeah, so smart of you to buy it secondhand. And have you ever used the film emulation in it, Tak? Have you ever used any of the film emulations in there? This is kind of where I'm going with this, right? This is what a lot of these, you know, people say, oh, I don't edit my images, I just shoot it, you know, with the film simulation in the Fuji camera. And look, you know, like it's fine. You don't need to spend ages editing if you don't enjoy editing. If you're just out taking beautiful pictures, you're on holiday or something like that, and you just want to switch it to Velvia, crack on, of course, yeah. But it's just kind of interesting to see where these film simulations have come from and that sort of thing. Grab says, speaking about simulation, the new Fuji that they announced, the T50 has a film simulation dial. Really, a dial? Well, Fuji is definitely pushing that nostalgic vintage look with their recipes. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So Tak says, I've used the emulations in Capture One rather than in the camera. Yeah, typically shoot to the studio. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wasn't casting nasturtiums on your good name there, Tak. Yeah, no, I mean, I certainly wouldn't use them either, and absolutely fun to play with in post and that sort of thing. But yeah, at point of capture, I agree. Yeah, I'm certainly not using them. But like Gripes also said there, they are kind of doubling down on it. You know, they've just brought this out here, which kind of gives you some examples of the different film looks from back in the day. Some of these images are not the greatest examples, in my opinion, but still, Astia. Those highlights, though, man. That's what I mean. You know, it doesn't. I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong, but I find it difficult to think that was shot on film. I feel like this is maybe an Astia preset. I was kind of expecting them to be shot on film, because it wouldn't have clipped like that. What else we got here? Now the Fuji Classic Chrome. Now we're talking, right? Oh. This is good stuff, man. This is good stuff, right? And it gives you kind of a breakdown here of the different looks. But it's interesting to see how these different films deal with different colours, right? Look at the reds on that, you know. What else we got? The Pro Neg, nice. This was always kind of a staple as well. So we got the shadow tone here, right? So hard. Yeah. So strong contrast on those, and then the Acros. But nobody shoots black and white anyway, so don't need to look at those. So we got the more dramatic side of things, right? So the Velvia, again, this was always a classic back in the day that we always used to use, especially if we're doing, something, fashion with a lot of color and that sort of thing. I mean, look at these deep, rich blacks though, man. Absolutely just gorgeous. I mean, look at that, right? Oh, look at those, sumptuous. So Velvia is always a banger. We got here. This I actually never used, like the pro neg. I know those of you who shot film back in the day would be like, who even are you? But yeah, like that looks kind of gorgeous as well. That's some vintage classic neg there. Good stuff. They also do some of these write-ups about them as well, which is kind of interesting. I haven't highlighted any that were good, but like a couple of them are pretty cool. That's I'm not a huge fan of greens, but that is a good green from that neg. Yeah. Where is the one? We got more. Look at this one. Nostalgic neg. They know their audience. Yeah. See, I need to look into this. You guys may already know this, right? In the 60s, a group of photographers known as the New American Color Movement emerged among artists for whom black and white had been the norm, right? Shun them. Their photographs portrayed their complex feelings towards a disappearing era. Even today, there are many deep-rooted fans of this movement, with its influence felt not just in photography but also fashion and cinema. Nostalgic neg is a look born from an era of new American color and longing for bygone times. So I've heard of this movement, but I never really learned too much about it. And when I read it again here, and I was like, I really need to look into these guys and girls, because it seems like back in the day they were like, if you shoot black and white, you're a normie. And we won't go over all of these, but a Turner. I never used this, but that's looking gorgeous. Beautiful. Now there was one other one here, bleach bypass. So this was something interesting that happened way back in the early digital days. Is a lot of our digital shots in Photoshop and that sort of thing. This was really popular. This kind of bleached out, like desaturated look. It's kind of interesting to see where it kind of came from here, but the bleach bypass was something that we used to do with films as well. But yeah, this really kind of drained. I remember it was just like you'd high pass it, you duplicate the layer, high pass it, and then just reduce the saturation by 50%. Anyway, yes, a lot of these, I've got a lot of old images from like the early 2000s that had this kind of vibe to it. It was kind of like the early precursor to HDR, yeah. Before HDR was cool, and then was definitely not cool. But anyway, it's interesting that they've done this. If you're interested in film simulations and film stocks and that sort of stuff, check it out. It's kind of cool. What do I get to? Grab says Fuji is definitely pushing the nostalgic vintage look with these recipes. Yeah. Tag says I've used the emulations Capture One. Yep. Crab says there is always the choice to shoot RAW plus JPEG. That's true. Yeah, and that's the best of both worlds in my opinion. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're going to be, yeah. I think if you're going to be shooting maybe on a trip, right, where it's for yourself and that sort of thing, and you're like, oh, the JPEG for the most part is going to be good enough. But if there was something like, oh, that was a killer shot, I wanted to bring out a bit more data in the shadows here and drop the highlights, I've got the RAW that I can kind of use as well. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Classic chrome at cross black and white do well, in my opinion, says Stark. Nice. Grab says when they release one that simulates Cine Still, I'll pre-order it. Yeah. I wouldn't hold your breath on that one, but yeah, I can totally see that. So Stuart says the new Panasonic S9 has a LUT button to do a similar thing, which is an interesting alternative. Really? Okay. So Did I see this? Yeah, okay. This is brand new then, Stuart, right? A lot of these videos are like brand new. Okay, and that's the Lumix S9 also allows creators to easily enjoy a range of popular classic and bespoke color style and camera with a popular real-time LUT function via a new dedicated LUT button. Camera body. Really? Okay. Interesting. Okay. How much they selling this for? I should have looked back then how much it cost was, but yeah, LUTs. Other lenses are $200. Okay. Actual button on there straight away. Who said? Somebody in chat said something about a dial was coming to one of the cameras or something. Yeah, like a dial was going to be on one of the cameras for. Yeah, for presets or something. Yeah. How much is this? $1,500. Okay. It's not cheap. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not cheap. Okay. Great to see them still pumping out cameras though. Yeah, because you don't hear too much about them. Yeah, good stuff. All right, good shout, Stuart. Good shout. Yeah. So Grab says they do still have a LUT built into Photoshop name bleach puppet. Do they, Grab? Okay, interesting. And Stuart says, yeah, I'm a big fan of little cameras, so got quite interested in that one. I mean, and it's full frame. It is full frame. Wow, that's a small camera for full frame. Okay, 1,500. I mean, yeah, you could certainly do a lot worse than that, couldn't you? Yeah, I haven't tested any of the Lumix cameras in a long time in terms of like their color output and raw details and that sort of thing, but more competition the better, right? So next story here, we're talking about this platform pays you to use your photos for AI and dataset training. So a new platform called Wirestock is allowing photographers and artists to take control of AI data training. The platform lets artists opt in and be paid for their work to be sampled by AI companies. So essentially, from what I can tell here, this is kind of like an agency, right? You sign up to this agency, right? And you put your images on this site, and then they'll farm out your images, whether they be real or not, to other companies looking like just desperate for more and more data, right? Which is, I mean, is it Apple or Adobe? I forget. It was like huge, like multi millions to Shutterstock or whatever it was a few months ago. For just, can we just have all your images and just dump them into our AI engine, for AI learning? So what these guys are saying here from Wirestock is that look, rather than you going around and uploading them to Shutterstock or I don't know, Getty or wherever, like all these different sites, put them all on our site, and then we'll do that for you. Essentially, their point of view being, look, you can't stop this wave, so you may as well get on board now, right? So in the original interview, Wirestock goes on to say payment for artists and photographers for licensing their work from AI training ranges from microtransactions of cents on the dollar when providers buy bulk data from Wirestock. So this is what I mean. This was the big Adobe acquisition of just all the images that Shutterstock had, right? And they just, and they'd like bulk buy. Look, if we just buy them all to use for our AI data, we'll give you a couple of cents per image. And Shutterstock were like, yeah, we'll take the 12 million or whatever it was. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about here. So when companies want to buy just bulk assets, so you'll get cents, right? And then it says will go up to $15 to $20 per artwork for specific needs. So on the rare occasion that somebody sees your image through Shutterstock and they're like, oh yeah, I want this for the book cover, you could get as much as $15 to $20. it's a very, 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 very lucrative source of revenue for artists, and they love doing it. They love doing it. They go on to say, our goal was to simplify the process for artists and ensure they receive fair compensation. This idea was a simple one, but the obvious merit, instead of each artist or photographer having to go to each marketplace and upload their work there, complying with the marketplace terms and requirements. So his point being there that each of these upload sites have their own kind of bullshit. You need to sign your life away. Wirestock allows them to do this process once and automatically takes the core of tagging the work appropriately for given marketplaces. So, for just like artists being like, okay, fine, whatever, I can't stop the tide of AI. I'll just make a few dollars. All I have to do is sign up to Wirestock once, and then boom, if I make anything, then fine. So they take a small amount of his own revenue, 15% commission on sales distributed to partner agencies, and 30% on direct sales. So that $20, they'll take 30% of that. So it goes on. Out of Wirestock's total community of creators, majority sum, 300,000 people have already been paid through AI dataset licensing deals. Now we've seen other creators going, what was it? Z-Motion famously posted a few weeks back going, she made like $17 a year or something. It's like just absolutely just nothing from these. But anyway, so creative challenges. So the challenges. Wirestock hosts these creative challenges, which basically means that every day they'll go. I think I've got it here. Here you go, creative challenges, right? So 24-hour challenge, futuristic, architectural wonders. So this is the 1 week challenge. So comic book scenes, right? So you can use their AI generation platform. I don't think I made that clear, but Wirestock has its own AI generation image software within it. I signed up. You get 5 images or something like that. So I just kind of played with it in here just to see how it fared. Now, depending on how you want to determine what's good or not, like this result was it's pretty cool. It took me all of about 10 minutes, and the reason I'm kind of bringing this up here is we played with Adobe's one, right, the Firefly beta that they've got they're being integrated into Photoshop, and this kind of no-name brand here, their AI generation software is very good. Right, I don't know if you want to call it good, but compared to the Adobe one, which you'd think would be, at the top of its game, like Adobe was certainly on the back foot when it comes to this. So I was just able to create images just off the rip very, very quickly and looking pretty cool and stylized. Whereas Adobe's, you do the same thing in Adobe and it looks, kind of I don't know, plasticky, synthesized, whereas this feels like it's got a little bit of character to it, right? So, like I said, and these are the challenges, right? So the way they do this is they ask the community, right, we'll give you $50. You just need to dump all your futuristic architectural wonders onto us, right? And this is super useful if they start to see a gap in the AI data set, right? Where there'll be, like Adobe's got this huge gap in futuristic architecture. Right? We don't have enough images of that because, it kind of doesn't exist yet, so we don't have any data of that. So, Adobe may reach out to Wirestock and go, right, just give somebody $50, start giving us, tons and tons of images on sci-fi cities, right? So it's kind of clever on their part because they can target the data sets that they need by doing these challenges, and they just give away $100, $50 here and there. So pretty easy to get tons and tons of data on their end, targeted data as well. The challenges offer paid cash prizes for artists who create and upload the work with a specific description of a Wirestock AI model, customer, or other enterprises' needs. So this bit here is really important, right? So like a company would reach out to Ystock and go, look, we need images of stylized comic book, whatever, futuristic architecture, and then they can kind of target it, right? They can kind of ask their community to target that, and they can get images for that data set. They just give out $50 or something, yeah. For example, the current challenge is, at the time of writing this, is around space and exploration, which asks artists to submit awe-inspiring depictions of space and work that captures the essence of space exploration through your artistic lens. The top 3 image entries judged by Ystock and its customers will receive $25, $15, and $10 in prize money. Huge prizes, guys. I'm being facetious. If you want to do that, crack on. But yeah, they're getting huge amounts of data for fuck all prize money. Let's just go on like some limp-wristed journalism here about, copyright. So Ystock allows creators to upload AI-generated works to its marketplace, which some have criticized as a form of copyright laundering. I mean, where else is it getting its data from, apart other than real artists? It attempts to label that content as AI generated and asks its creative users who upload content to identify it as such. So it's basically talking about an honor system here, right? If you upload an image, you need to be honest and tell it if it's AI or not. They've got no way of checking that or verifying it, but it's based on an honor system. But ultimately leaves it in the hands as to where the content is created and by what means. So, yeah. And then they just go on talking about video, as we know, like 3D video is kind of, or AI generated 3-dimensional video is skyrocketing at the moment, and people are paying a lot to get that data, because the first person, the first major company, the first major of these guys, whether it be Google, Adobe, Apple, whatever, who is able to produce realistic AI generated video on demand is going to be very, very wealthy for sure. Yeah. Has anybody here in chat used any AI software at all? Anybody played with it? Have you played with the Adobe beta, Firefly, one that came with the Photoshop beta? Have you played with that? Have you played with Midjourney recently? Anybody seen where it's at, or have you just like, Jake, I don't want it? It's like, it has zero interest to me. I could care less. One thing that was shown to me last week, sadly I couldn't open up their gallery, it wouldn't load, but somebody in the stream last week shared one of their images, and they were using this online art exhibition to kind of share their work in this kind of virtual gallery. Yeah. And let's have a look. It's kind of interesting. I thought I'd share it with you guys because it's free to use. So if you guys were interested, it's kind of free to use. You can load this up and then you can just create your own gallery, and yeah, and then you can just like 3D walk around it. I have no idea. I was kind of looking for some photographs here, but let's have a look. So each time you load it, pretty quick to download the 3D exhibition. I'm just going to turn the sound off in case that was... And then you've kind of got this virtual gallery of your images. Now, I don't know whether this is of interest to anybody, but I did think it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of a nice way to kind of look at some of your images, because it's like super simple to do. It's free to sign up. It's free to, create this gallery. And then if you wanted, you could kind of use this to send to a client. It's probably more of a novelty or anything else, but I thought I'd mention it because I think it was Annie last week mentioned it. I apologize, but she has some beautiful images that she'd taken, and then she put it in a gallery, and yeah, it was pretty cool. to my knowledge, I've I had a look through a couple of these, and there's a certain amount of customization that you can do with this gallery in terms of how much daylight, the walls, and the size and scale and that sort of thing. But it's pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth. Yeah, a little bit of fun. Let's have a look. Can I just? Is there? Let's have a look. Shit, Jake, that looks like a lot of nudity. Let's just close that. Trust me to click on that one. Yeah. So that took a while. Is this going to be a beefy one? But these are all pretty new, pretty recent, to be fair. So can you just... Oh, you double click on it. That's cool. Okay, and if you wanted to, you could just scroll through it like that. Okay, that's cool. Interesting. I could see that being fun for somebody. A little bit more of engagement, showing them the images and that sort of thing. I mean, you can obviously include a regular gallery for them as well, right? You just wanted to give them the images as well, but having this as well is kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Check it out. I thought it was pretty fun, and thanks for sharing that with me. I thought it was pretty cool. I'll pop the link in chat if anybody's interested. Let's have a look. Jamie says I played with Firefly for about 4 months ago. I don't know, I wasn't impressed. Yeah, so those of you who don't know, Firefly is the Adobe one, and we played with it on stream. Well, last stream, right? We played with it on there, and yeah, I don't know. It just felt kind of clinical, I suppose. It just felt kind of didn't really have any personality to it, and it's kind of difficult to put my finger on what I mean by that. But even me just mucking around with wherever it was like this, within 2 minutes, I felt like the images coming back had, now granted it's stolen personality from other artists, but still, yeah, I would agree with your sentiment, Jamie, that the Firefly didn't really blow me away at the moment, but I still think that they, like Adobe, were late to the party on that one. Yeah. Terry says generative fill is starting to flag on Facebook uploads now. Getting a made with AI badge. Really, Terry? That is interesting. Okay. Generative fill starting to flag on Facebook. Getting made with. Yeah. So they said on the 5th of April, we plan to start labeling organic AI generated content in May 2024, and we'll stop removing content solely on the basis of our manipulated video policy. Right, okay, so videos and stuff, yeah. There you go, Terry, as well, yeah, so May, so maybe they've started rolling it out now. Yeah. This timeline gives people time to understand the self-disclosure process before we stop removing this more. It's interesting that you're talking about, you're seeing degenerative. I mean, I wonder how much it is then, Terry, like how much of the image, like 30% of the image was kind of gen fill, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook flags that. Interesting. Yeah. I haven't seen that. I will keep an eye out for it though. Yeah, and if anybody comes across an article on that, Yeah, let me know. Yeah. I mean, I mean, Meta has openly said that they are using all of the images that we upload there. I mean, can you imagine how many images Meta has that they have the legal right to offload onto AI learning databases? Is nuts. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but don't share it on our platform though. Yeah. Anyway, Stuart says AI in general is and will be amazing, and the rate of development is incredible. It will be in everything within a few years. Okay, so Stuart's coming at it from, level-headed and saying that look, it's kind of inevitable. It's going to be part of the everyday, and yeah, I don't think you can you can't put this back in the box now, and we've seen how quickly it's evolved hugely within just the last couple of years, right? So no, I agree with you, Stuart. I think it will be everywhere. And look, to be clear, I don't have a problem with the AI generated images as long as people are stating that's what it is. I mean, I don't care. As long as people aren't trying to lie about it and go, yeah, no, this is a real photo and it's kind of and it's AI generated. That's a bit disingenuous and doesn't sit right with me. But yeah, I'm not. Oh my God, you're a heathen if you use it or anything like that. So Terry says I literally had it on a post an hour ago from a grass patch gem filled. Terry, how much of that image, in your assessment, like percentage wise, was gen filled? 10%, 5%, 30%? Like how much of that image got flagged? Yeah. Gripe says it's weird. So for some reason, messages in the chat didn't appear. Thank you, Gripes. We'll have a look at that. So yeah, obviously, we had this issue before, Gripes, where especially when we're doing Facebook. This is the reason why we're on YouTube as opposed to Facebook Live, because Facebook Live there was so many comments that were just being removed, and we weren't talking about anything, in my opinion, that was that particular risque. But yeah, this is the reason why we kind of moved to YouTube. The start of this year was because comments were just being deleted before, and that was server side, so I wasn't even seeing them. It's not like I was seeing them and then they were being deleted at server side. So it's kind of annoying. So that sucks that your comments are being censored. Yeah, posted something on Facebook for that AI thing. I have a look. Yeah. So Terry says under 10%. Oh wow. So interesting. That is interesting to hear, Terry. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure many of us, right? One time or another have had to be like, do you know what? Christ, the client wanted it landscape rather than portrait, and even if it's, okay, let's just crop it to landscape, or like we want to recompose the image, just add a little bit to the corner here. Like you wouldn't have to drag it out too much, right? On the corner for you to go way over 10%. Interesting, Terry. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for that. If anybody else comes across that issue, let me know, because I'd be certainly interested to see what is actually triggering it. Let's have a look. I presume he posted it in here, right? This is you, right, Steve? Or not? Oh, cool. Okay, I did ask people to post products. Okay, interesting. Okay, I'll look at that in a second. So where's your comment in here then? Did you post it in this one or did they post? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I don't mind where you post it as long as I know. Yeah. In here, maybe. Boom, in there. Okay, cool. Yeah, nice. Thank you. Okay, so this is the thing. Content that is created or edited using Meta's AI tools and shared to Instagram or post a story. There was AI. Okay. content that is detected to have industry standard signals indicating the generative AI will label this made with AI. No, we can't spot them all. So thank you for posting that, and I will probably kind of read it off stream rather than just looking at this wall of text here and try and pull out any relevant bits for next time. But I will just add to this that Meta heavily suppresses AI art on Instagram at the moment, right? So they're not getting any growth, which is great in my opinion, right? You know, I think there's a time and a place for it, but at the moment Instagram is heavily suppressing, and like your work, if you're just creating AI work, regardless of how beautiful it is and how many kind of likes it's getting, it is not getting any traction on the platform. And in my opinion, I think that's great. How long that lasts, is kind of how long can you hold back the tide? But yeah, I mean there is a bunch of well-known photographers that you guys will all know that all have kind of ghost accounts, or whatever you want to call it, on Instagram, where they're playing with AI and that sort of thing, as they should do, right? It's a new creative tool. I've played with it. I encourage you guys to play with it. See what it can do. Anyway, they've created these accounts, and they have huge followings already, and those accounts are getting no traction at all. So at the moment, you can go, well, imagined with AI and have a watermark on it, and you go, okay, big deal. But what Terry's saying here is that he is just using Gen Fill to extend a little bit of grass here and there and that sort of thing. Now he's going to get tagged with this made with AI kind of tag, and that image is just not going to be seen anywhere. So is it something you guys need to be mindful of? Yeah, I think it is. I'm certainly going to be very mindful of it, that if I ever start to see any of my images being tagged with this, I know that they're just not going to be shown to anybody, right? They're just going to have zero reach. So it is something to kind of be mindful of, and I'm sure there'll be ways around it, right? You can extend it and then just take sections and kind of replicate it in some way. I don't know. But yeah, if you're doing stuff like that where you're just kind of adding to a little bit of grass to a football pitch, it's like, come on, but difficult to know where to draw the line, right? The new light as well. Have a look at that in a second. Yup. Okay. We get to, this kind of ties in. So I think Steve posted a little LED light there. It's kind of interesting as well, because unbeknownst to him, it kind of ties into what I wanted to kind of bring up here as well. So Nanlite FC60B and the 120B are USB powered bicolor LED spots. So this is something that I've seen a lot of recently. Hey Vlad, how you doing, man? And it is a bunch of these really low powered lights coming out small. We kind of chatted about a couple of them in the past. For the last 2 or 3 streams even, we've kind of looked at, I think the last stream we looked at one that was the size of a mobile phone, right? And you can plug a modifier on it, but essentially you could literally have that in your pocket. And now I'm bringing these out as well. This is 60 watts and 120 watts, and they're saying that they can be powered by a USB power bank and that sort of thing. And what we got here, so pricing, so the 60 is, so the FC60B, these names, $160, and then the 120B is going to be $250. That is super low power, really low powered, and we're seeing so many of these lights coming out, so there must be a market for it. I'm just kind of curious as to who do you think is buying these really low powered LED lights? It's a serious question. Like, who do you think is buying these kind of 100-watt lights? Like, is it content creators shooting videos, in their front room, and that's kind of all they need? Is that? But even then, like, you would need all the curtains shut. You would need it to be, in my opinion, you'd need it to be pretty dark. Like 100 watts is not bright. So I'm kind of curious, and then what we had, was it Steve? Did you post this, Steve? Sorry. Yeah, Steve posted this one. So the here you go. Okay, so ML100, so it's going to be 100 watts, portable compact LED video light with lens. So, I mean, it looks cool. Looks stylish from Godox. So Godox is I mean, because, no offense, but there's been a bunch of kind of low-level LED companies doing this. And, yeah, okay. So, it means we get nothing crazy there, but 100 watts, 200 quid nearly. Bi-color, like, it seems like, who is the market for this? Because it's not dirt cheap, is it? You know, like, you're not just like, oh, I'll grab one of these. You know, it's not dirt cheap. Yeah. Vlad says, I'll have a 125 watt lamp. You add so much noise to it anyway, though, Vlad, you're fine. Yeah. Jamie says, video content, I reckon, or someone who shoots at high ISO. Yeah, I got to be video, I would say. Got to be video, right? But then you'd need to have complete control of your ambient, yeah. So Vlad says, it's good enough and like 10 times more powerful than most RGB lights everyone was using. So, okay, fair enough. So I'm obviously just out of it then. So it's still powerful enough, okay? Yeah. For some, fill light for video, in some situations it can be okay, yeah. I wouldn't buy any LEDs less than 300. Yeah. I would say that's a fairly sensible assessment norm. Yeah, I will say, right, I have a 150 here. I will say I have a 150 with the S, like the Godox SZ 150, whatever they're bloody called. And you know, it's once you put like a bold color through it, like red or blue or something like that, it takes away a bit of light. And then you put a modifier on it, then you put it 10 feet from the subject. You are definitely shooting at f2, 200, 400 ISO for sure. So Norm, I would say that I would agree with you. I would say 300 is going to be ideally what I would want. Yeah, like the 150 going up to 300 is going to be one extra stop, right? So it's one extra stop of light. For the most part, that's going to bring all of those 200 ISO shots down to 100 ISO. It's not the end of the world in terms of quality at all, but still, I would agree with you, Norm. The 300 is going to be a safe bet. Gripe says another Chinese company also has something similar. It's called the Molus 60. Yeah, these are the ones I think these ones we looked at are certainly very similar to it. Yeah. That's right. It is. Yeah. It is. These are the ones. Yeah. Is that girl AI? What the fuck? There you go. Yeah, it's Diddy, right? It's the size of a phone. Yeah, 60. But she's outside. You are not using that outside, man. Right? Am I being crazy? You're not. Yeah. Love that under lighting. You see that? That can't be like she's not there in reality, right? Because that is just not doing anything to her there. It's like doing nothing. Anyway. Oh. There is so many of these. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah. Gripes, yeah. Zion. Yeah. Proud to say one of their accounts is showering me with likes on IG. Maybe. Vlad, totally unbiased. Totally unbiased. Good for you though, Vlad. Yeah. Get that bag, mate. Test them out. In fact, I would love for you to get them, test them out, and let us know. Yeah, give us some figures. Give us some real life figures as to look. guys, 60 watts is not as bad as you think. You know, and you mean you're already using 125 watts. This is only one stop darker. But again, like they're going to be in your pocket, so it's better to have some light than no light. But yeah, anyway, I kind of just wanted to mention it because I was just surprised seeing a ton of these little lights coming up. Thank you to Steve for sharing this one. I hadn't seen that. But yeah, a ton of these. Where's that bloody window gone? Where's the other window? Boom. Yeah. Bringing these out. So what the Godox one was £190. This is for what, 100 watts? And what's this one? This is 120 for. So okay, so Nanlite is a chunk more. Okay, but if you're already in the Nanlite ecosystem with modifiers and that sort of stuff, then makes sense. Yep. It's not the model who's not there, it's the light. Yeah, no, they just put it's true, Vlad, yeah. They just put the lights in just random images. It's nuts, yeah. Marking the idea that you could get stock images, place a 3D model of your yeah. Probably brighter than the ARS 2, about maximum output from a V-mount battery. What's brighter? Those ARS 2s are super bright. Right, what else we got here? Just a little nerdy nod to this vintage look modern glass, the Thipoc Eureka 50mm f2. Vlad, have you heard of these guys? I had only peripherally heard of them, and they've only brought out one lens in the past. So these lenses were the Thipoc Chimera series, which looked like the old Leica glass. So yeah, here you go. Boom. Yeah. Currently, the series is composed of only one lens, the M mount. So Leica, right? 50mm f2, and it looks so retro to fool anyone that's thinking it's from the 1950s. So not only are we, we're trying to make vintage-looking glass, but it's got to look the part, right? So if you've got your $8,000 Leica or whatever it is, and you need a lens to look the part on it, then these guys have got you covered. Is that a gun casing, like a bullet casing? Luger bullet casing as your shutter release. That's a new one. I have not seen that before. Seeing the Thipoc Eureka 50mm as an old camera makes even a vintage lens geek like myself feel like it belongs to the same era, almost like it was bundled with the camera, such as the Leica M3. So, I mean, it does. Credit where credit's due. Gorgeous looking lens. Those of you that are not aware, this is the OG, the original Summiter Leica 50mm f2 from the 40s and 50s, right? So they kind of just remodeled it there. The M mount is easily adaptable. Is it? Is that true? The M mount, can you easily adapt that to other cameras? And because the Eureka can cover a full frame sensor, oh nice, it can easily be adapted to any mirrorless camera, but it would still feel a bit retro on a digital sensor thanks to the Thipoc interesting coating, which simulates the coating of old glass. It should translate to flares similar to vintage lenses. So, got some beautiful images here, and like it looks good. I mean, it looks pretty sharp to me, but the color's looking nice. I think I actually shared her work a couple of weeks ago. This lady that shot this, I think it's a lady. Kind of recognise the images. So what we got? 50mm bayonet, f2 to 16. That's the cost. So we've got the lenses available in aluminium and brass versions. So aluminium is, which I think looks the best anyway, is 580, and the brass one is 860. Yeah. I have no idea what this is. Speaking of vintage, I know you do Nikon the Helios, and we talked about last week. I now have before and after photos of the depth. Oh, nice, man. Nice. Okay. In terms of power consumption, Steve. Gotcha. Sorry. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Bless says anything is easy to adapt to a mirrorless and even get autofocus. Oh, because of the mirrorless. Yeah, fair. Okay. Don't even try to adapt stuff to the Nikon SLR. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is looking good, man. This is looking good. Love this format. It's nice. So those of you who don't know, this is Vlad's site here, and he's almost as much of a nerd as I am. And he's gone into in-depth here as to why the swirls are not appearing, or may not be appearing in your lenses. Okay, that's nuts. Yeah, that swirl there. Oh, so you've got an image here where it's a big difference, man. Yeah, it's a big difference. Yeah, so what have you done? You just added an extra, like an extra element to the, whatever it's called, the mount or something, the adapter. You can't argue with those results, man. That's good. Yeah. So this image here at the end, Vlad, of you, what camera was this shot on? Was that shot on your Nikon DSLR, was it? It is a 3D printed adapter on the right. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Jamie, what even prompted that? Come on, man. I'm just going to get it out of the way. I swear. Next time I see it, I'm just going to get it out of the way. And normal W glass on the left. Oh, I see. Yes, this is the regular one that you buy. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. It's all because of this 1mm. Yeah, so what Vlad's talking about here is I've had the issue as well, and this is kind of exclusive to Nikons, but a lot of the old vintage lenses won't focus to infinity, and I've bought a bunch of, granted, cheap adapters on eBay and that sort of thing to try and make it happen, but I've got a bunch of lenses here that I've never been able to use because, like, you can buy, I think, the Metabones one that has an extra piece of glass in it which enables that to happen, but it was like it was way more than the lens, right? So I'm just like, oh, to hell with it. Yeah. The last one is D750 in Helios, but with 3D printed adapter. Can't argue with that result, man. Yeah, that's banging. Yeah, good stuff. Any other nerds in chat, check out that link from Vlad. I mean, it's a pretty niche article, but I mean, really dramatic difference. Yeah. I might have to buy one off you, mate. Send it over. How much you selling them for? Also, who's the adventure is? I'm selling my DSLR. Wow, Vlad, we selling it. What are you gonna get? Money bags. So we've spoken about this in the past, but we're seeing more and more of this pipe lighting. These are inflatable LEDs, so we're seeing a bunch of these popping up as well. And I think this is like one of the original ones from Germany here. But look how clean that light is there. See how even that is. You'll always hear me banging on about hotspots and that sort of thing, and you know how important it is to have very, very even lighting, which you don't get with softboxes, right? If this was a softbox, this would be, a stop brighter here, massive modifier like that, but super even. And this is kind of one of the benefits that LEDs is bringing to us. And then the inflatable modifiers that you can put on them, you just pump them up and off you go, right? Do they actually show? They show them being pumped up. Okay. Look at the size of that thing. But yeah, if you need incredibly even light over a large area, like film sets and cars and that sort of stuff, we're going to start to see a lot more of these. And a couple of you have mentioned this in the past. You're seeing like inflatable LEDs, and yeah, we are going to start to see more of them. And I think before long, a couple of these will kind of trickle down to us to us poor folk. They've got this helium solution as well. It's kind of interesting. So when you make the light an inflatable light like this, what they've done is they've got helium versions. Kind of crazy, right? So you just literally pump it up with helium rather than air, and like massive lights that you can just float around the set. Kind of crazy. Yeah. Very, very clever. I just thought I'd mention it just because I think we're going to start to see more and more of these coming in as time goes on. Yeah. Here we go, even in RGB, WW as well. So I think we'll start to see more of them. Oh, that hasn't seen it yet either. Okay, it's cool. Yeah, Poor Thing is very good. Feels like a Terry Gilliam movie on budget, and I can't recommend Mandy. I will. Okay. So we're talking about AI and software, and we've kind of looked at a couple of pieces of software in the past here where AI is looking at retouching, right? So I forget what the software was that we played with. I downloaded it and played with it. I forget. If anybody remembers it, then let me know. But at the time I said, look, starting to see more and more of these adverts, right? Retouching software producing AI results, right? So they're using AI to retouch an image, so skin smoothing, that sort of thing, right? Now, those of you who shoot weddings, you shoot 3,000 images, you're like, I am not retouching all of those. It's going to be difficult for a lot of wedding photographers to turn this kind of software down, where the AI is going to go in and go, okay, here's the eyes, here's the nose, here's the mouth, don't blur those, but the rest of the elements like the skin and stuff, like we can do. So Skylum has announced the release date for a brand new photo processing application aimed specifically at professional portrait retouching. So I want to kind of labor that point there, aimed specifically at professional portrait retouching. So this is not fine tune on your phone or anything like that. This is these guys are going after professional portrait retouching. So it's not going to be released until September, but they're trying to drum up interest and that sort of thing, right? Project Barcelona, as it's called, will let photographers automate routine face retouching processes through an AI optimized workflow that runs locally on the user's device. So this is also another interesting note here, is that it's going to be retouching process through an AI optimized workflow that runs locally on your user's device. So a lot of the other AI retouching softwares that we've seen in the past, you actually working in a browser almost, right? Or you're certainly working online. And it's doing the processing in the cloud. So this one is a piece of software that I presume is going to take AI data. It's going to put it in its software, and then you can run it on your system with that knowledge. Now, I don't know how often you need to kind of update it and upgrade it and all that sort of stuff, but it's not, to my knowledge, going to be working on your image in the cloud, right? With the other software that we Evoto AI, thank you, Vlad, that's exactly right. Yeah, Evoto AI is what we used. So with that one, it's working in the cloud, right? And that means that your image is basically stored on there, or is being used on their server, right? Because you're working in this platform. So they're kind of they're kind of using the data that you're giving it, and it's growing their software as a result. What's kind of interesting with this one here is that it's going to be on your system, right? So yeah, interesting. So who let me just see. We can kind of see the results here, and we'll open it up in a second. Okay, so this is what the other thing as well. This is a separate product from Skylum's popular Luminar Neo application. So some of you may have already heard of this Luminar Neo, and some of you may already be using it and that sort of thing, but this is not going to be a plugin or anything like that. This is a separate piece of software. And again, no price on it yet. And let's have a look. So the other thing they spoke about here was the app will be released in September 2024. The company is working closely with portrait photographer Julia Trotti on its development. So, you know, just to give you guys an overview, this is kind of the work that she's doing. Just to give you an idea of, you know, the type of people that they're talking to for this piece of software. Okay. No judgment here. I'm just letting you know. So, and this is the Skylum thing here. So, edit portrait photography like a pro. I mean, like that model needed any retouching, but you know, here we can see perfect skin in with a click. Now again, I'm bringing this up because we're going to start to see more and more of these all the time, and the reason I kind of mentioned this one, so here, make them stand out with realistic bokeh, draw focus to your subject by creating a pleasing dreamy blur in the background. So here you can see, look at the leaves though, look at how it cuts out the leaves. It does a pretty good job on the hair, but the leaves, it just, yeah, that doesn't look good on the leaves, yeah. That's good all the way around. Yeah, that's good. But again, this is kind of the stuff that's been on like the iPhone and all that sort of thing for a while now. And again, the only reason I'm kind of bringing this up is because not A, we are kind of seeing more and more of these, but B, this one says it is going to be working on your system, so I don't know how often it needs to access the cloud. And it's coming from Skylum. Yeah. So the Luminar, yeah, that they're kind of famous for. Like some of the features stuff here. So Project Barcelona has a variety of AI-powered portrait photo effects that you can use to enhance your images for high-quality results, including skin retouching, eye enhancement, and realistic bokeh. You'll find presets and batch processing that will save you time. It's not like, it can't be too far away, right, where this kind of skin retouching is just done like that. I mean, how often, like we spoke at the start of this stream here, a few of us in chat were talking about how long we spend retouching images and that sort of thing. And I don't know about you guys, I mean, how much you enjoy it, right? How much you enjoy the skin retouching part. And the skin is really just one part of it. You got to be doing the dodge and burn and the sharpening and the color grading is all kind of your special sauce and that sort of stuff. But could anybody here see themselves using something like this in the future, like to do the skin? I'm not saying this is going to be, you know, spit it in, you know, put it in here and then your image is up on Instagram. Like, you're obviously going to do your own magic to it, but like, is there anybody here that would use something like this to kind of retouch the skin on your images? And if so, like, what are you doing, weddings and that sort of stuff? Because like, if you're a wedding shooter, I mean, that's kind of like be pretty easy, right? Will Meta label them made with that? Great question, Gripes. Yeah, great question. That is very interesting. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I mean, because it must be looking at something, right? When it's labeling it, like, what is its trigger? We've kind of been cheeky in the past where we've seen somebody who's extended the background, and you can see that the quality is not the same level as the rest of the image. So we've kind of gone, oh, you've used Gen Fill there, because you can kind of see the line where, you know, the quality is a little bit lower than the rest of the shot. That sort of stuff is fairly obvious. Like, even we can see that. But you're right, Gripes. Like, what are they using to kind of see that? Yeah. So Anders says, I've been using Evoto, nice, AI for the time now. It works fantastic on normal portraits, but I found that it struggles with skin retouching when using colored lights. Good feedback, Anders. So we kind of spoke about it here, right? I'm talking about it here. And look, when we used this on stream, whenever it was, the other month, it was tough not to be impressed by it. Yeah, I mean, Anders here says, he's using it for his work. Like, it had a lot of features, and it had both Photoshop and Lightroom features within this one piece of software, and like, it was doing a huge amount, and it was charging you per image, right? So it was like, well, if you're just a hobbyist, right, and you're like, well, I don't have any shoots for the next couple of weeks, I'm not paying for software that I'm not using, right? You just buy a bunch of credits, and boom, off you go. Anders, if you don't mind me asking, like, have you just bought like the lowest package of credits here? Have you just been like, yeah, I'll just buy some credits, or have you just gone, bought a bunch? Like, what, if you don't mind me asking, like, what did you go for? Vlad says, I haven't done dodge and burn this year at all. Okay, so you haven't done any dodge and burn this year. This live stream is so nerdy. I love it. Like, it's not often we get to that granular detail. Jamie says, I'd use it, then do my own thing on top just to cut down on time. That's what I mean, right? It would be tempting. Like, if it's, if you're buzzing skin through this, I mean, Anders raises a good point here about like regular portraits, right? To daylight, if it's, correctly exposed and all that sort of stuff. If you're just buzzing through regular portraits, like headshots, it's going to be pretty easy for it. But when you start to give it some of the more creative stuff, it's going to really struggle here. And Anders is talking about it really struggles with colored lights. There was a piece of software way back in the day we used to use in the studio called Portraiture Pro, I think. And the way that, it wasn't AI, but the way that it built its kind of algorithm, if you like to do it, is it would go, this is the shape of the human face. We know where the eyes are. We know where the mouth is, and we know where we know where the nose is. So it knew enough of that to mask that out, and then it would just skin smooth it, right? Based on it's got tons of data on shape faces, right? So its inputs was, here's 1,000 faces. This is the locations of all the eyes and noses and that sort of stuff. Don't blur those, blur the rest. And it struggled with colored light, right? Because it was really confused with the light and the shadow. It was obviously like the data set that it had worked on was white light, right? And whenever you gave it like colored lighting, it freaked out and really didn't do a very good job. So yeah, we'll see. It's probably got a long way to go. Yeah. So Anna says, yeah, you just bought the lowest. Makes it, yeah. You have to use the credits you buy within 1 year. Yeah, at least if you're not running a high volume business. Interesting. Okay, so they got an expiry date on them. Oh, okay. Good little bit of info there. Like it. Yeah, so just buy these. That's what I mean. Like, you got a very, and it was a powerful piece of software, very powerful piece of software for 75 quid and 1200 images. You're not going to use that in a year. So essentially you're paying, for most of us shooting studio portraits and that sort of thing, where we're not shooting like 3,000 image weddings. If you're a wedding shooter, this piece of software becomes expensive. Yeah, if you're buzzing, I don't know, you're doing 40 weddings a year, and you're sending out 300 proofs to the client or something like that, you're gonna, this doesn't become cost effective. Something like this though, where you just, I'm guessing, is going to be a piece of software that you download, and it's this one price thing. This becomes far more useful for you as a kind of high volume shooter. So each to their own. Yeah, that's cool that you started to use it, Anders. Yeah, I mean, those of you that don't know, in Ivato, whatever they're called, reached out to me a couple of weeks ago to sponsor me for it. Now, it's not something that I'm currently interested in, but they are, like they are hungry for it, right? They are putting it out there, and like I said, it was scarily good. It's definitely, if you get a chance and you haven't seen it. Or used it, like definitely give it a go. It is good. It is good. couple of last minute stories here. I just wanted to talk about, I think somebody mentioned, it might have even been Steve last week, mentioned the King Charles portrait. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I just wanted to kind of bring it up. I was actually really impressed that I said King Charles? Yeah, King Charles portrait here. I was actually really impressed by this personally, and I think that it was bold of them to to go for this. He probably, I'd say probably hates it, but I think this is the artist's work here, by the way, so he kind of been surprised, right? He's obviously done a lot of very famous people, but it's an interesting take on a portrait of the monarchy, right? We all know historically what famous paintings of the monarchy have looked like, and this is vastly different. So it's kind of interesting to see their angle from like an artistic point of view of trying to target young people in some way. I mean, I'm not up on my butterflies, but I assume that is a monarch butterfly, right? OU says the butterfly by the King's shoulder symbolizes the beauty of nature and highlights the King's environmental causes. Okay. I assume it's a monarch as well. But the red, right? The red is bold, very, very bold, and if anybody's interested, it is kind of fascinating to see how artists kind of depict the monarchy over the years, especially with photographers. Some of them have been very, very bold, and it's been interesting. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but interesting to see the monarchy kind of bringing out this piece that was very, very different to what they would typically do, and I think more power to them. Yeah, definitely. This is stuff. So I think. Lastly, I just saw this before I went live. Just thought I'd grab this. So these are LED panels, flexible LED panels. Right, you can see the chips here on the side. All right. Kind of nuts, and so are they just suctioning them to the wall with water or something like that? It's kind of crazy, like to glass. It's kind of nuts, and then they just program them in like that. Here you go. So that they'll, because you can buy as many as you want and then link them up, of course. So this is like the smaller one there. So this is the control box here. And bear in mind, there's nothing being projected onto that, right? That's just being. So you can do, like we spoke about even lighting and that sort of thing, and having kind of cheaper even lighting like this. You could see this taken off. A lot you could do with this, especially in terms of like those images in the background. Kind of nuts. Yeah. See if they just mount the control boxes there on the edge of it. Yeah, they're not giving out prices. I looked for the prices, I couldn't see it. Yeah. But a lot of potential with these, especially in terms of huge lights, programmable to do whatever you want. That's pretty cool, though, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but again, you can see the prices of this stuff coming down dramatically, because you look at the raw materials of that product there. Not much, right? Not much. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to make that. Yeah, the control box was tiny. LEDs just absolutely, $1,000 for $1 at the moment. Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I think there could be a lot of stuff that could be done with this. Brings in a lot of ideas, especially when it's transparent like this. You could layer it up, all sorts you could do with it. You know. Hey Nigel, how you doing? I just come into. Am I missing part of the conversation here, Nigel? You just come in drowning in blood. What was that in reference to? And what am I missing? I love those panels. I know, Vlad. Yeah, this is like, it's clever. Yeah, it is clever stuff. Super thin, very lightweight, very tiny control boxes here. Again, like brand new, just come out. They will not give prices to anybody unless you contact them. So I'm guessing they're being sensible about it, right? They're going, like, if Apple gets in touch, they're like, oh yeah, our prices are this. You know, if Joe Blow from round the corner wants to throw some up at the back of his wedding, they're going to give them a different price. So I think they're probably testing the water at the moment. But I can see a lot of scope with those, huge amount of scope with those, especially when you just roll them up, you know. Yeah. Very cool to think how much they cost. I don't know, Melanie. I don't know. Like I said, you know, sure, they may be expensive at the moment if they, you know, if they're bringing out these ideas and that sort of thing. But if you look at the component costs of it, it's not going to take too long before somebody, you know, reproduces that, because it's not expensive. Like a car is expensive. We can see, well, you know, there's a lot of raw materials there, but this, like, there's not a lot there. So, you know, maybe expensive now, but you can definitely see those prices coming down pretty quickly. You know, imagine that there are 3 wires going from each LED to the next one, and you can't see it. I mean, I can't see them. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree. And I like, so they're all conducting those LEDs somehow. But I was looking at the images. I couldn't see. You know, some of them are pretty close. I couldn't see any wires in there. I get ChatGPT to contact them. It's absolutely, yeah. Oh, Charlie's painting. Sorry, Nigel. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What did you say? Drowning in blood. Look, I don't know what the artist's intent there was. Maybe you're right. Maybe he was being cheeky with it. Yeah. Maybe he was. Yeah. They can send me a few for my studio, make reels with them. Get on it, Vlad. Get on it. Like, look, they're brand new. These guys are brand new. They are pretty scuffed at the moment. So look, you know, talk yourself up. Go look. You know, I'm a moderator on that Jake Hicks Photography's stream. I'm actually kind of a big deal. Send me some LED panels. I think good to go. That's nuts. Yeah, that's nuts. Anyway, just thought I'd share that. If any of you guys see anything else like this, let me know. You should see what's going on. Imagine what a nice... You're on thin ice. Right. So there we go, guys. I think we're all caught up on the AI. I mean, on the news. Thank you for that link as well, Steve. Let's have a look. Let's give this a quick refresh. Let's have a look at your guys' images. See what you guys have been working on. It's getting late. Right. See, look, Vlad comes in late, makes it to the top spot. Unbelievable. I'm going to be late to the stream, but here's my photo going for a cinematic look. Recently, I've been in love with the Ektachrome look. Okay, nice. So, this is your fake Venetian blind setup. Yeah, nice. We've got a video in here as well. Just get a peek in Vlad's bedroom here, guys. Keep it yourselves. You got pretty high ceilings there, Vlad. Is this your home or? because those are pretty high. Is this the, did you say 150 watt light? 125 watt light? There you go. Get your fake Venetian blind up. I've got a bunch of them here. My fake window, nice, yeah. just put all the crap I can on that lens. Oh, I love that one. That's cool, man, yeah. Can you skip on this or not? No. Fucking damn it. Yeah, that last one with the hat, that was cool, man. Yeah, that was good. That's good stuff. Very effective, yeah. Good job. 3.5 meters ceiling on a bedroom. Yeah, I think that's pretty high, man. Yeah, I mean, like most of us here in the UK don't have anything like that. Yeah, that is super useful. Yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, love that. That hat shot. That's good. I got one from Tony here. I've not been doing a lot of shoots lately. Too cold. Those of you who don't know, Tony is Australian, so he's going into winter at the moment. He's going to start hibernating soon. But I thought this lighting was a little interesting. 2 lights, one on camera left, beside of the model, and one on the right, was slightly above and behind. Okay. I also shot this with a fill light beside the camera, but I actually prefer the shot without the fill. Okay. So what Tony's saying here, he's got one on the left, one on the right, and he did try one with the fill, but ultimately he ended up losing it and just going for this kind of very, very strong edge lighting shot here. And Tony done a good job with the pose here, right? You could see if she'd moved her head a little bit like this, would have caught the nose here, would have quite quickly kind of would have been not very clean had it just caught the end of the nose. So you done well to keep it nice and clean down there. One thing I'll just say with this, is how's best to do this? Can I? That's fine. We can just mask it out afterwards. Right. Let me just. So what I'm kind of looking at this is I would kind of be wary of the backlight being brighter than the front light. We can kind of do the same on the other side as well. Let's have a look. Let's bring this up here. So all I'm doing here is I'm just darkening down this one very roughly, right? And then I'm just gonna brighten up this one. So this is this side, right? Now this one we can just tweak the color a little bit here. Now we're just working with the JPEG here, but can you kind of see the shift, right? When like the brightest part. So really, even though this is on the back of the image, as in like the eye that's furthest from the lens and all that sort of stuff, I would still always have your key, if you like, or the face light as the brighter one. Right, so this is what it was before. So with this being very, very bright here on the background, we're kind of drawn straight out of the shot here. So I would try and keep that brightness onto the front of the face there. But again, yeah, it's just kind of my tuppence halfpenny thoughts on that one. Okay, what else we got? Oh, we've got Melanie's shot here. All the files are in the comments if you want to pick them apart. Oh, so you've got what of this one? Finals of what in here? Do I need to refresh this? Is that what you're saying? Got more images. Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. Storytelling, true. Yeah. Just got to even out that hotspot, but yeah, otherwise that's good. This one though, this is the one for sure. Yeah, nice. Thanks for posting those in there. I also got one from Melanie here. So I usually shoot colour using RGB light panels and outside, so I went against my norm and shot in the studio using gels. This was only my second studio-based shoot. Nice. This is good stuff if this is only your second studio shoot here. But yeah, let's have a kind of, I'm just going to bring this in a second, Melanie, if you don't mind. It's, you know, a similar vein to what we were saying with Tony here a second ago, just in terms of how, you know, we're kind of drawn around an image, and it's a similar sort of thing. So a lot of like the brightest part of the image is where we're normally drawn. Yeah. So here, not only that, but the brightest part of the image is also in the middle of the frame here as well. So like we're kind of being drawn straight to this empty spot here. So we kind of want to bring more of the focus on this side, ideally. And oh, let's have a look. Can we just kind of do that? So obviously this will get flagged on Meta because it's probably more than 5% of the image. But let's just see. So again, we're just trying to put that brightness over there. And what else are we doing here? I'm just gonna lock that in there as well. And let's kind of just concentrate on the brightest parts of the image here a second. And kind of bring that down. Yeah. And then if we wanted, we can kind of so here we're just going to brighten up the front of it, right? So we've darkened the back, and now we're just going to brighten up the front a tiny bit. And I would kind of do the same with the background here. You see how like the background is kind of bright in this top left hand corner? We really want them to be on the opposite side of that. So let's have a look. If we can just select the background here a second. The easiest way to do that is just select the subject and then invert it, right? So Command Shift I, and let's see. Kind of equal this out a little bit. So we're just trying to equalize that a little bit. Now, if we wanted, we can, you know, darken that down maybe. Let's see. Still darken that down, and yeah, just to keep our focus on there. And the only last thing, the only other thing I would do that is just remove the grid from that softbox. Right, we see we got the grid and the softbox there. So yeah, just come in there and just buzz that out. Yeah, okay. Now, if you wanted, I just wanted to see, this is this plugin that just gives flares and stuff. I wondered if it would work on the glasses there, just real quick. Pretty strong. Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious as to what you get away with there. Bring the exposure down on that. Yeah, a little bit of a glow. Yeah, but anyway, you can certainly play with it. So again, like thinking about the direction of where you're looking, or where the viewer is looking, right? And see if we can keep it more to the front of the face there. You can see where, and this is the newly cropped one. You can see how, like, moving from the back of the head, they're coming more to the front of the face, just in terms of where you want the viewer looking. Yeah. But in terms of like your second shoot in the studio, really good, because you've got really strong separation between the two lights here. A lot of people will get that wrong. When I say wrong, I mean they'll kind of merge them, right? So you'll have two colored lights falling onto the same space. What you've done a really good job of doing here is keeping them very separate. And I love this kind of shadow that is coming straight down the middle of the face here to really give that shape. You can imagine how if the green had been brought too far around, you would have just lost all that dimension. So I think you've done a really good job to keep those two lights separate. Him bang in the middle, and yeah, I think it works really well. Yeah, colors are good as well. Yeah. Hey Phil, how you doing? Yeah, no, yeah. You missed all the ranting, but we're just going through images now. You're good. Jamie says, "Here we go. Told him about Onric for a year. Now look at just." I know, Jamie. Like, I always, it's going to be the same with Mandy. I'm going to see it and I'll be like, "Holy shit, this film's amazing. Wish I'd known about this sooner." So Charlotte says, "Best part is you can paint in white where you want the glow. To apply the glow, remove the white layer, just attach the glow." It's true, Charlotte. Yeah, I've only really kind of dabbled with it a little bit. I presume you're talking about Onric, and welcome though, Charlotte. Yeah, thanks for joining. But yeah, you're right. There's tons that you can do with that, and you can even do your own luminosity masks and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's tons you can do with it. But every day is a school day. That's true, Melanie. Every day is a school day. Absolutely. So we've got a shot from Mario here. So I'd like to say I love your tutorials from Pro to you. Freaking fantastic. Wow, you're going back a few years, but yeah, glad you're enjoying them, Mario. Yeah, I used a yellow gel high top right, which we can see here on the, coming down on the crown and stuff here, which is nice. Which also bled onto the V flat behind the model, creating that split background. Nice. Blue gel on the main background. Easy work when you have someone as talented as Talib Klingman here. 135mm shot on Canon Mark III f4 ISO 100 20th of a second. So this is a really cool technique, Mario. This is a really cool shot, and I love this kind of techniques. I think it's really clever, and what it really involves is kind of you tricking the viewer with the separation, right? So if we look at this shot from above, so we got our model here, this is the nose, and we got our camera here, right? So what Mario's saying here is he's got like a yellow light, here, right? And that's firing down. Now what he's also got behind Talib here is he's got the essentially like a V flat, right? And then he's got his background back here, which just say as a blue colorama. So what's happening here is the yellow light is hitting the V flat here, right, behind the model, and then further behind the model we have the blue background. So you have this really cool effect where you have kind of like the yellow on this side of the model and then the yellow on that side of the background. So you have this really clever kind of checkerboard effect. And what works well with this is the kind of the pale white light here is nicely balanced with the blue back there. And again, you see how you have these complementary colors sat next to one another. You have this nice blue and yellow here, and then on this side we have the blue again. So really nice, strong, contrasting image. Super simple but very, very effective technique to add layering, especially with color composite like this, where you've got these really nice, strong, contrasting colors or complementary colors sat next to one another. Really, really nicely done, Mario. Yeah, really nicely done. Good stuff. Yeah, great shot. Oh, Charlotte says, yeah, I'm about 3 years deep in on It's amazing. Yeah, no, it's really in depth. Yeah, I speak about it previous stream where I was chatting to the guy that created it, and he was showing me stuff. I had no idea it did as much as it did. I think Jamie was kind of talking about it, and he was doing little bits with it, but and then I could see what it could really do, and I was like, wow, yeah, it's impressive. Yeah. Good stuff there, Mary. Thanks for sharing that one. We've got a shot from Jamie here. So this is from a shoot where I used coloured LED tubes out of shot, but with a twist, I set the light to white light for this outfit. My usual latex retouching, 4 LED tubes in a camera, that's it. So we kind of speak about this as well, and we spoke about this clean lighting. We spoke about like the tubes, the inflatable tubes, how clean they were, and how even that tone is, right? And this is a really good example of when you need really even tones, and from end to end. So if we were to use like a strip softbox, right? So here in the middle of the light, it would be really bright, and then at the outsides, where like the bulb is further from it, so you got your gridded softbox, right? And in the middle you've got your bulb. So this is where the brightest part of that light would be, and then out here is going to have less and less brightness the further you get from that bulb. What's really interesting and what Jamie's using to full effect here is these LED tubes that are the same exposure from the end, the middle to the other end, right? Exactly the same exposure. So you're able to get these beautiful beads of really interesting light on these subject like this, and this would be great for car photography and product photography as well. But yeah, really clean, and yeah, good stuff, and as always beautifully edited. And I know I've said this before, but I will say it again to anybody else that's kind of interested in this, but Jamie does a really good job of lighting dark subjects against a dark background, and he has a very fine balance between not using a black background, which is where I would say a lot of people go wrong with it. They would use a black background here, but what Jamie's doing is he's just bringing it just off black to very dark grey, and it enables the blackness of the subject to really stand out. So yeah, great job, man, as always. Yeah, beautiful image, good stuff. Shot from Kevin here. It says medieval fantasy styled shoot from the weekend, a nifty 50 with natural light and then processed in Lightroom with a homemade preset. Nice. Good stuff. I might just grab this and just run one of my color adjustments through it. Let's see what we get. So Kevin's already played with this in post. I think it works with the armor and the medieval. We got the kind of the leaves and the brown hair and that sort of stuff works really well into kind of locking in a lot of colors into one kind of color group, which is nice. I just wanted to kind of maybe run these kind of channel mixer presets. I've given you guys these in the past, but I'm just kind of curious. So is the outdoor one interesting? Okay. And then what about warm portrait? That's not bad. Cold portrait. You guys can't see, I apologize. Oh, you can see it here, yeah. Okay, I'm just behind my camera, I'm just clicking on the action for these presets. That's kind of cool. So in here, see the issue, so I know a lot of people use LUTs and stuff, but I don't really like LUTs because you can't adjust them afterwards. Whereas in here with these channel mixers you can do. And to be clear, I'm not saying that Kevin's image needs to be adjusted in any way. I was just kind of curious to kind of play with this. That blue is doing a lot. So I just wanted to kind of lean into the red hair just a little bit, just to maybe bring that out just a touch, while still getting that contrast between the face, right? So we have this lighter area here, and then we have this highlight on the armor here as well. So I just kind of wanted to play with that contrast just a touch, just to bring those two in line, and just to lean into the hair. But again, like, color grading is personal preference. It's not about right or wrong. It's just about what's kind of speaking to you. I think what Kevin's done to begin with here is to consolidate the colors, especially with the background and the hair, just to kind of tighten everything up, which is good. Never use grids on latex. Yeah, right, Jamie. Yeah, exactly. So what Jamie's talking about there is, remember we spoke about the grids here? Yeah. So what Jamie's referring to there is, can you imagine trying to retouch grids on latex? Yeah. It sounds like he's learnt the hard way about that. Got one from Brett here. This is beautiful, Brett. Yeah, hey Jake tried an homage to Merton Marcus. Oh wow, going back a few years. Just two models with different skin tones to have a play with. Which side, how hard, the soft, etc. Since it seemed like it could be a bit of a challenge, any CC would be welcome, especially as it pertains to two models exposure. This is a beautiful shot, Brett. I think this is beautiful. I think there's a lot to love about this image. Great expressions, like just great story going on here. Beautiful colors, yeah, beautiful colors here, and yeah, great choice with the background. The lighting's clean, but we've got them close to the background here, so they don't feel stuck on. I think you're just on the cusp here of how close they are to the background. What I mean by that is, if they're too close, it just drops off into being heavy shadow, which is not a good look. Too far away, we don't have any shadow, and they kind of look stuck on. So I think you've got a nice mix here of the distance of where they are, and like the colors. Like, you've done a really good job with the colors here. My biggest kind of issue with this is the composition, and the black model here feels like she's kind of like floating head, right? So Adobe's not going to let us do that, is it? What I mean by that is like nudity, or they're just going to give her clothing, or are they just going to say no? Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so this is very manageable then. Brilliant. So yeah, my concern is that crop, right, with the floating head. Yeah, as we kind of spoke about. Now, as soon as we start to come out here, like, what do we do with this? I think we can, like that feels better. And I've just kind of skewed it a little bit there to kind of add a little bit of drama to the head being back, right? I'm just trying to increase that angle, just to kind of lean into that a little bit. But yeah, so like my only issue with this originally was going to be that floating head from the black skin model there, right? You know what I mean? So just bringing her in more, and it feels like this is a little bit more like we planned for both of them to be in the shot, right? It's just like previously, it just feels like she's kind of poking in, yeah. But other than that, I think this is a really good shot, right? Yeah, I think this is really lighting's good, beautiful, clean highlights, detail in the shadows without it losing the contrast, skin tones looking clean and beautiful. Good stuff, man. Yeah, this is really good stuff. Just watch that. Just watch that weird composition. Yeah, especially with two people. That was risky, Vlad. You're true, actually. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Yours. So Jamie, you said like yours was a black background. Yeah. I mean, that's fine if you want to, add extra light in there. You can do. Yeah. Is that what you meant, Jamie? I take it Photoshop won't let you do that, right? It won't, will it? It won't let you add nipples and stuff, will it? So we got last one here from Anders, last but not least, from a shoot with Marlin 3 days ago. Pretty straightforward. Set up the blue gel beauty dish as key, or 2 silver umbrellas, and magenta gel from behind. It was shot in a small cottage at a holiday village in front of a black portable backdrop. I would love to have your CC. You trust AI too much. It's true, Vlad. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's happy accident with the black background. I lessons learned, right? Lessons learned, because it kind of falls into what's going on with Anders here, right? So he's talking about. He says he's got some BTS here in the. Boom, beautiful, love it. So he's using a couple of 8200s here, 400s. So he's got a studio in his back pocket here, practically. Probably got a studio in his rucksack here. 3 lights, umbrellas, fold away. Beauty dish is probably going to be a pain in the ass, but you can get a foldable beauty dish here instead. And off you go. But he's got a black background here. So this is what I was saying about. Thank you, Anders. Yeah, it's great for putting it there. This is kind of what I was speaking about with Jamie's, right? 8200, 300s are right. That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. They are. Yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about here with that background, right? So what happens here? And okay, granted, we're on Facebook, and he's probably not going. Anders isn't going to be showing all his work on Facebook, but you can kind of see where where we have this black background. Like, we don't know where this image ends, right? Because we can't. She's kind of getting a little bit lost here as well. So we kind of want that little bit of separation. So this is really what I was referring to. And we can kind of simulate it a little bit here. So if we go, select the subject here, it's pretty good. A bolt just fell off my microphone. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. So yeah, we're just gonna soften that up a touch. I'm sure there'll be a little bit in there as well, but this will hopefully show my point. So at the moment we've got her selected. We kind of want the background selected, so we're just going to invert that, and I've got a bright light in my face here, so I would never retouch like this normally, but it doesn't have to be too much is really what I'm getting at, right? So here, like, you see what I'm saying about having that separation. Now Jamie's saying that he's got light that's naturally falling onto his black background, and that's mainly because he's using those tubes that are kind of like the benefit of those tubes is they're very even light. The downside is that they throw light everywhere, so he's actually getting spill onto his background here. Now Anders won't want spill onto his background here, but it does mean that black portable backdrop that he's got there is like not getting any light at all, and we lose depth. Now this is more apparent when we have dark clothing, like these dark gloves here, or the dark hair and that sort of thing. That's where we can kind of lose that shape and form on our subject, right? So having this kind of separation can help. Now I kind of mentioned this before, and you guys have seen it as well, but on all of my shots where I'm doing those types of shots, I'm using a dark gray background to begin with, right? So like, this is, in terms of lighting wise, worst case scenario, right? Very matte black fabric, and then against a black background, this would have been completely lost. So here I'm using a dark gray background, just with a little kiss of light back there, and again just helping the contrast of the darkness here to allow her to kind of stand off of that, right? Another example here was with a bit more contrast. Was like here, I remember doing similar sort of thing. I was mindful of it. You know, very black hair, black shadows in here, but again, with the background, you don't want that to be black. What can happen when we do that is that any shadows, like here, like black shadows, is if this is the same color as this, our eyes visualize that as a hole in the image, right? So we lose that depth. So our eyes perceive this to be the same depth as this. So this is why working with a dark gray background like that can help to just keep these dark shadows separate from a dark black background, as it were. Yeah, if that makes sense. A fabric background, yeah, and it's true, Anders. Yeah, I mean, like this is, yeah, it's like you're on location. You are, you know, you're doing it. You know, you're in a spot you've never shot in before. You don't know what it's going to be. You're surrounded by white walls. It looks like you've got a big window behind you. Like, yeah, I totally get it. This is not, you know, you got an incredible image with, you know, gear on the go, as it were, in a space you hadn't worked in. It's like, yeah, please don't take this as a, you know, as a criticism at all. Just kind of thinking about ways that we can kind of, you know, improve on that in the future. If there's some way that you can take, you can buy dark grey cotton sheet and you could just clip that to the top, right? And that would hopefully would be even enough. I say even enough, like you don't want any folds and wrinkles and that sort of stuff, but you know, having something that is not going to be pure black like that will help, you know. That shot of mine, totally with the light hitting it, helping separation. Absolutely, yeah, totally fine with. I agree, Jamie. Yeah, and again, because it's so even, it's not like you've got hot spots everywhere. You've got this even light. It would be absolutely fine to have it falling back there, and you can see in the image how even it is from those tubes as well. Yeah, like absolutely fine. Yeah. In my normal studio, I also use dark grey background, jet black. Perfect. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all good. Hey, Simmer, how you doing? Sadly, we're just coming to the end, Simmer, but thank you for tuning in. But that is good, guys. We are good. Another incredible crop of images, as always. Beautiful to see these. Thank you to everybody that posted an image. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Any last minute questions or anything like that before we shoot off? Thank you everybody that, you know, was kind of hanging out, asking questions. Good conversation again today. I appreciate it, you know, because I wouldn't sit here and talk to myself for 3 hours. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. As always, tonight's live stream was sponsored by Hicks Photography. Make sure you check out his online workshops. Still doing a bunch of these. So all of my kind of more advanced lighting and more in-depth lighting is done with these online workshops. So it covers all of my lighting techniques, from projector work to the cinematic to the, you know, color gels to the more kind of softer gel work as well. So check those out, as well as the mentoring. So I know a few of you I do some regular mentoring with, which is always good, so check that out. We do, you know, feedback, building business, online workshops, personalized retouching, all those sorts of things, so check that out as well. So any questions, just get in touch via these forms here. And yeah, it's been good to do those. Let's look at some of these images, man. These are good stuff. I do say so myself. I miss doing some of these. I haven't done any projector work in a while. He says, even though the image that we were looking at tonight was, where was that? Projector. Well, that's not projector, but like similar to a projector. Yeah. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, and watch Mandy. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate you, buddy. Guys, thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. Absolute pleasure, as always. Good stuff. Hopefully do this again in a couple of weeks, I think. I can't see any issues. Why not? But yeah, hopefully do this again in a couple of weeks. Thank you to everybody that submitted an image. Great to see those. fantastic work as always, and good luck with any shoots you got coming up. All right then, guys, stay safe. Catch you in the next one.